Hey peoples, Swamp here, and welcome to episode 58 of Danganronpa. Last time we were starting the trial, and we were going over why Makoto has an alibi for just why he could have murdered Mukuro before 7:30. So let's go on and discuss the sprinkler system.
Because of the sprinklers in the garden. The sprinklers are set to go off right at 7:30 every morning, right?
Hopefully the audio is actually good this episode because I had to restart my PC. I restarted my PC in the hopes that it'll restore the audio that was going off from the last episode. Literally, I don't get why that happens.
So if the body had been in the garden before 7:30, then it should have been completely soaked.
Alas, Makoto, there's the tarp.
Oh, hold on. I remember this part perfectly. The body was wet. Dripping wet, in fact.
Sorry, Toko, but you're wrong.
We dumped that bucket of water when it burst into flames.
I'm wrong? How? Are you saying only the mouth down south was wet? How dare you spew such indecent words?
Oh my gosh, mouth down south. I'm gonna have to remember that one.
No, I'm saying that the body was wet, but not because of the sprinklers.
What do you mean?
Well, to be fair, Toko shouldn't know that considering that she was blasted to Kingdom Come with that explosion.
By denying the sprinkler, are you trying to deny my entire existence?
Man, you're totally wacko.
That just describes Toko's character in a nutshell.
If you really think it wasn't the sprinkler, you'd better tell us why!
I need to prove that it wasn't the sprinklers that got the body wet. All I need to do is hit Toko with certain evidence, and that should do it. If we look at the body itself, that should be clear. Okay, yeah.
I admit nothing. I hate you. No! I don't know anything. Hold on. Are you trying to blame me? I admit nothing. I hate you. No! I don't know anything. Hold on. Are you trying to blame me?
Okay.
I admit nothing. Are you trying to blame me?
Boom.
I admit nothing. I hate you. No! I don't know anything.
Boom.
Hold on.
Okay, final strike.
How can you say it wasn't the...
This should prove it.
Okay, boom. Yeah, we did it. Bum, we did it.
Just remember what the body was like after the explosion, and you'll see why it wasn't the sprinklers. The top half of the body was wet, yes, but the bottom half was completely dry. If the sprinklers got the body wet, shouldn't the whole body have been wet?
Why couldn't Byakuya just shut Toko up just by saying, I told Makoto to throw a bucket of water on the burning corpse?
So they only got the top wet? The bottom was completely dry? What a brutal maniac!
I'm so sick of her.
Let's just move on. The reason only the top half was wet was because... while the body was still on fire, I doused it with water. But only the part on fire, the top half.
Oh, then I guess the sprinklers really didn't do it.
So if the sprinklers didn't get the body wet, then the murder must have taken place sometime after the sprinklers turned on at 7:30 in the morning.
Which means she must have been killed sometime between then and when the body was discovered at 9.
But Makoto's alibi was only missing from 10 o'clock last night to 7:30 this morning, right?
So there's no way Makoto could have done it. I guess you had an alibi after all. Good for you.
In which case, the only one left without an alibi is Kyoko.
Kyoko's the only one without an alibi, which would mean that Mukuro's killer is... No, I refuse to believe it. Kyoko murdered someone. That's...
I'd just like to say one thing. If you vote for me, and I die here, the mystery of this school will stay hidden forever. Which is why I can't let that happen.
Huh?
So are you saying you're not the culprit?
Of course I'm not. I have no reason to kill anyone. This is a trap the mastermind has laid for us.
A trap?
We're this far into the game and now you decide to blame me? Stop wasting time! Stop wasting energy! You really think your little trick is gonna work?
Shut up, you!
You got it, boss! Shutting up now!
Anyway, Kyoko, you actually did have a reason to kill her.
Huh? She did?
She thought Mukuro was the ultimate despair. In other words, the mastermind behind everything. So she killed her to try and put a stop to all this. Isn't that right, Kyoko? But you made one catastrophic mistake. Mukuro wasn't the mastermind at all. And as a result, we were forced into another trial, something I'm sure you weren't at all expecting.
So, that was her motive?
If she had a motive and no alibi, well then, I think it's pretty clear Kyoko's gotta be the culprit.
I'm not the only one without an alibi. Makoto's explanation is still insufficient.
She does realize that if Makoto dies, she dies too!
Huh?
The sprinklers didn't get the body wet, but that doesn't mean the murder happened when he said it did.
What are you...
Because you see, there is a way the body could have avoided getting wet.
Interesting. I'm listening.
All it would take is covering the body with a certain something
Oh
to keep it
no,
from getting
she's using
wet.
the tarp! Damn, what is it with Makoto and attracting all the girls who eventually try to betray him and throw him under a bus? First Sayaka, now this? Oh, okay, the tarp. Where's the tarp? Ah, here we go, the tarp.
I got it! You're talking about the tarp, aren't you?
You catch on quick. You're right. All you'd have to do is cover the body with the tarp, and that'd take care of the water.
Then how would you explain the tarp being moved from the body to the tool shed?
In fact, that's exactly what the killer did. The dirt pattern on the tarp can attest to that. Only one side of the tarp got dirty, because that's the side that got covered in water. The side that faced down over the body, meanwhile, kept perfectly clean. This proves that the killer used the tarp to keep the body from getting soaked.
But why would they go to all that effort just to keep the body from getting wet?
To obfuscate the time of death.
Most likely so they could cloud the issue of when the murder actually took place. In other words, to create an excuse exactly like the one Makoto just gave us.
Why would Kyoko say that? Because apparently Makoto, there's just something about you that makes girls want to throw you under a bus. Really, because like first there was Sayaka, and just now this? Why would you want to make me look like the killer? No, I can't think about that right now. The tarp. It was used the way Kyoko said. That tarp must have touched the body, right? Bloodstains. But the body...
Wait. Something's not right.
And what might that be?
I can't worry about Kyoko's motivations. If I don't do something, everyone's going to think I'm the killer. After a few what Kyoko said. Make your argument.
By covering the body
Okay,
with the
I think
tarp,
it's going to be the
the
body
killer
before
prevented it
explosion.
from getting wet.
So the reason the tarp was only dirty on one side is because the sprinkler got that side wet.
But the underside of the tarp, it was totally spotless, right?
It's because that side was protected from the water. Since it was facing down toward the body, of course it didn't get dirty.
Yeah, because basically the body had all sorts of blood on the front. Okay.
Actually, one side being clean is pretty strange if you think about it. Because the blood wasn't dry before the body got blown up, right? Byakuya said it himself. Not to touch it, or you might get some on you. If you put a tarp on a body in that state, it absolutely would have gotten blood on it.
Well, maybe the culprit washed it, so nobody would know they'd used it.
Then why would the dirty side still be dirty?
If they had, they would have washed both sides. Just washing the one side wouldn't hide anything.
Oh, yeah, true.
More than that, What if the very blood we saw on the body was meant as a kind of camouflage?
Look at Kyoko! She's just going at it! Blood is camouflage.
After the killer used the tarp to avoid the sprinklers, they then covered the body in blood that didn't belong to the victim.
You mean someone else's blood? Where would they get something like that?
I know! They could have grabbed some of the blood packs from the nurse's office. That's what Hifumi did, right? When he pretended to be dead?
No, that's not what happened this time. The killer got the blood from right there in the garden.
The chicken. Chicken, where's the chicken? Shotgun!
A gun! Could it have been chicken blood?
What? Chicken blood?
When I checked the chicken coop before the murder, there were 5 chickens. But after the murder, there were only 4.
So, you're saying someone killed a chicken? And then covered the body with its blood? Man, that's messed up.
Killing a living thing just to do something like that is awful. They should have at least eaten it.
I wonder if the killer had to get the blood from the scene so they wouldn't be spotted walking around. Anyway, there's no denying that a chicken went missing, which provides a basis for my theory.
Perhaps, but even so, there's one thing that still doesn't make sense. You said the culprit used the tarp to avoid the water and then covered the body in blood, right? But if that's the case, then the blood should have soaked into the ground around the body.
Right.
But that's not what we saw. Only the victim's clothing had blood on it. The ground was completely clean.
I have to agree, that certainly is strange. Maybe they didn't apply the blood at the scene. Maybe they covered the coat in blood beforehand.
They covered it beforehand?
Now we're back to the blood getting on the tarp.
When you discovered the body, was it wearing the coat like you normally would?
I think so. Wait, no. The head was through the neck hole, but the arms weren't in the sleeves.
Then that settles it.
Sorry, I'm having a tough time keeping up. What settles what?
Here's what happened. The murder took place before the sprinklers went off, but the body didn't get wet because the killer covered it with the tarp. Then, later, at the same time the killer was gathering up the tarp, they pulled the coat over the body. The coat they'd already covered in blood. This series of cover-ups was meant to disguise the actual time the murder occurred. They wanted us to think the murder happened sometime after the sprinklers had gone off, at 7:30.
If that's actually what took place, it certainly becomes possible that the murder happened earlier.
But to pull all that off, wouldn't they have had to go back to the garden after the sprinklers turned off?
That actually wouldn't have been all that difficult.
Huh?
They already had the coat ready, so they just had to grab the tarp and pull the coat over the body. They'd be done in no time.
Maybe, but still.
Hina, after you met up with Makoto in the dining hall, did you two stay together from that point on?
Oh no. I headed off to the gym, and Makoto didn't show up till later.
Where did Kyoko?
You had plenty of time to spare, wouldn't you say?
Damn you, Kyoko! I trusted you! Oh my gosh, this is her revenge! This is Kyoko's revenge for Makoto not telling her about Sakura being the spy!
Don't bother saying it's not possible.
I must admit, Kyoko's reasoning is sound. Makoto's alibi is inadequate.
And the suspicion falls back on me again. But why? Why is Kyoko trying to entrap me? She'll kill us all! I don't understand. He died in the bed by his mad to the truth book.
Well then, it looks like we're back to square one. Makoto's alibi is no good, so once again, our suspects are him and Kyoko.
For serious, man? Which one of them did it? Hey, why don't we let luck decide? Let's flip a coin. 50-50 odds.
Oh!
See? Pretty good idea, right?
No, not that. I just remembered something super serious.
Well, don't just stand there. Out with it.
You know that knife we found all black and
Oh
burnt?
no, back to Makoto!
The one we found stuck in the body before it exploded, right? According to the Monokuma file, the knife went all the way through, from front to back. So, what about it?
I'm pretty sure I'd seen that knife somewhere before. That's what I thought when I first saw it. I just remembered.
Listen, more important. Why do we have the knife? What are we gonna do with it? Why can't we have just thrown it in the incinerator? Why can't we have just thrown it in the incinerator and just burned it to a crisp? Why can't we just smash it, destroyed it, mangled it up? We can't let Toko keep it, that's for sure. We don't know what she might do with it. I don't want it anyways. So what should we do? Why aren't you hanging on to it, Makoto? Me?
It's the knife we gave to Makoto?
You don't seem surprised. You must have noticed earlier.
Yeah.
Then why did you hide that fact?
Because we don't want to be suspected!
It's not that I hid it. It's just...
I couldn't be sure what actually happened last night. I thought maybe I really did kill her.
Suspicious! Very suspicious indeed. The knife we found stuck in the body came from Makoto. Now I'm totally convinced he did it. 12,000% convinced.
Like I said, I hate this. When we're suspecting someone else, it's always like we got by tooth and nail. But second Makoto was under suspicion, the world wants him dead. I have to prove that I didn't murder anyone. I'm not the killer. Make your argument. Okay. This guy's dead body. Exploded body analysis.
The knife we found lodged in the dead body.
It's the same one we gave to Makoto.
It really is, isn't it? I was afraid of that.
If he did have that knife before, then that seals it. Makoto did it.
Just because I had the knife once? That automatically makes me the killer?
Well, getting stabbed is what killed her, right? So there's no question. You took that knife of yours and killed her with it.
Hey,
What a
Togo.
horrible man you are, Makoto.
It should be the analysis. We've already established the coat was put on the body after the tarp was moved, which means the knife was dusted the coat into the body.
The knife we found lodged in the dead body.
It's the same one we gave to Makoto.
It really is, isn't it? I was afraid of that.
If he did have that knife before, then that seals it. Makoto did it.
Just because I had the knife once? That automatically makes me the killer?
Well, getting stabbed is what killed her, right?
Yeah! Got it!
What's wrong?
Okay, good. I didn't want it to turn into just a chapter 3
Wait,
fiasco.
hold on. The stab wound isn't what killed Mukuro. That should be clear from the description of the cover-up we just heard.
Lies! We never talked about what killed her.
No, don't you remember? The killer covered the dead body with the tarp, and then put the bloody coat on it, right? In other words, the victim never wore that blood-stained coat until after they were dead.
Okay, fine. So what?
So, when we discovered the body, the knife had been thrust through the coat along with the body. Meaning, if she wasn't stabbed until the coat was put on, and she was already dead at that point, obviously the stab wound isn't what killed her.
Maybe you stabbed her twice. Once to kill her and once to cover it up.
They threw us out twice in the same spot. No, there's no way that's possible. The exact condition of the body is written down for everyone to see. Monokuma file!
I got it! The Monokuma file clearly states that there was only one stab wound.
Oh yeah, it sure did. I totally forgot about that.
Of course
And
it
the
did.
knife,
Was just another piece of camouflage set up by the true killer. They probably stabbed her to draw attention away from what actually killed her. Exploding the body afterward was probably meant to do the same thing.
Togo's blasting off again!
The explosion severely damaged the body, making it impossible to know what really killed her. It was all the killer's attempt to destroy all evidence of their crime.
So they wanted us to notice the stab wound and then detonated the body afterward. They meant for us to latch onto the knife as the cause of death, then destroy any evidence proving otherwise.
Oh, hey, I have a question. It kinda goes back to the beginning, but what's the deal with that explosion anyway? Why'd the body just blow up all of a
The
sudden?
Monokuma bomb, of
If
course.
you bothered to put that lump of gray matter between your ears to use, you'd know the answer.
Well, if you're so smart, just tell me.
The Monokuma
I'll
bomb.
tell ya. I bet some unknown quantum particle caused an atomic level spontaneous combustion!
Like I said, Hero, never change.
I might be dumb, but even I'm not dumb enough to believe that.
Go ahead, Makoto. Tell her or we won't make any headway on this.
There's only one explanation I can think of for the explosion. I just want to make sure. Okay, let's do the fragmenting of the dead body.
A gun! After the explosion, we found a tiny fragment of something on the ground near the body, right? That fragment reveals the cause of the explosion.
Huh? You know, I feel like I've seen something like it somewhere before.
That's only natural, because of course, we saw the same thing when we dismantled Monokuma. It's part of a bomb.
Oh! Then the explosion was because of the Monokuma bomb.
Anyway, the culprit's motive is becoming more and more obvious by the minute. They wanted the knife wound to look like the fatal injury so that we'd suspect Makoto. And the only one who would benefit from that
Thank you!
is the only other possible suspect. You, Kyoko.
After that stuff, I'm thrusting you under the bus!
Hold on a second, Byakuya.
Yeah, we're thrusting you under the bus, Byakuya! You and me, we'll team up!
What's the problem?
Well, I just feel like we need to think this through. We still don't know what actually killed the victim.
That's true. It's definitely bugging me. What really killed her?
Fine. I have no problem with that. Let us continue the debate. It won't change the facts of the case regardless.
We need to determine that what ultimately killed the victim. I need to concentrate. Make your argument. Monokuma 5-5.
Then, shall we continue the debate? The victim's fatal injury has yet to be determined, correct?
The explosion didn't kill her for sure. I guess.
Well, yeah. She was already totally dead when that happened.
And it wasn't me because of the knife, right? And then there's only one other thing.
Oh yeah. According to the Monokuma file, that's gotta be it. There was evidence that showed she was hit on the back of her head.
And more than that, the victim had suffered countless wounds across her entire body.
Okay, the knife was a cover-up, and all those other wounds on the body were right, which only leaves...
Then, shall we continue the debate?
the arrow.
The victim's fatal injury has yet to be determined, correct?
The explosion didn't kill her for sure.
Well, yeah.
And it wasn't me then.
Oh yeah. That's gotta be it. There was evidence that showed she was hit on the back
Okay,
of
that's
her
not
head.
it. Okay, well at least we got something out of it.
Then, shall we continue the debate? The victim's fatal injury has yet to be determined.
Okay, that's
correct?
not it either.
Shoot!
Okay.
Then, shall we continue the victim's fatal injury has yet to be determined.
The explosion didn't kill her for sure.
Well, yeah. She was already...
And it wasn't me because of the knife, right? And then there's only one other thing.
Oh
Okay.
yeah. According to the Monokuma file, that's gotta be it. There was evidence that showed she was hit on the back of her head.
And more than that, the victim had suffered countless wounds across her entire body.
Now, come on. I want to test up that one, okay?
Then shall we continue? The victim's fatal
The explosion didn't
Oh, sorry.
Well, yeah.
and it wasn't me then.
Oh yeah. That's gotta be it.
And more than that,
The victim had suffered countless wounds across her entire
Okay, that's not
body.
either.
Shoot!
Okay, it's gonna be a flashback. That's the
Then,
only one
shall
we're
we
getting.
continue the debate? The victim's fatal injury has yet to be determined. determined, correct?
The explosion didn't kill her for sure. I guess.
Well, yeah. She was already totally dead when that happened.
And it wasn't because of the knife, right? Then there's only one other thing.
Oh, yeah. According to the Monokuma file, that's gotta be it. There was evidence that showed she was hit on the back of her head.
And more than that,
Okay.
the victim had suffered countless wounds across her entire body.
Okay, the knife was a cover-up and all those other wounds weren't fresh. Which only leaves...
Then shall we
Continue the
Ah,
victim's
okay.
fatal.
The explosion didn't kill.
Well, yeah.
And it wasn't because of the...
Then there's only.
Oh, yeah. According... That's gotta be it. There was evidence that showed she was hit on the
Back of her head. And more than that, the victim had suffered countless wounds across her entire body.
Okay, let's see.
Then shall we continue
The debate.
the victim's fatal injury
Has yet to be determined.
Okay, yeah, got it!
That's wrong.
Okay! Just I had to slow down and think about it.
Mukuro died because of the blow to the back of the head she suffered.
And we'll discuss that next time. I really appreciate that you stuck around to watch this. You're a good viewer, and I hope you come back for the next one. If you like the video, like, subscribe, comment, share, do whatever that you want. And with that, I will see you later. Bye.